This episode is about the power of no, so stick around to the end and there's going to be a freebie that you're going to be able to download which is going to help you out. So let's get into this. Hello there, how you doing? For those who don't know me, my name is James Taylor and I'm an online counsellor, hypnotherapist and life coach with my own private practice. Now, a thing that I see a lot with my client work is the importance of saying no to certain things. Now, this can either be for counselling, for hypnotherapy, for life coaching, for anything at all. The importance of being able to say no.
No, no, no!
Yes, yes, yes!
Now, for some, this is a real problem where they just can't say no to certain things. And that might be an internal no or an external no. So I want to talk about both of those things. Let's start off with an external no. Now, a bit of self-disclosure here from myself. Years ago, I had a real problem saying no. Someone would ask me to do something. I'd say, yeah, okay, even if I didn't really want to do it. What do you think? Well, I don't really mind, when really I did. What do you want? Oh, I don't mind, what do you want? And I would bend over backwards to try and make other people feel happy at my own detriment. Now, this was a real problem, and it was something that it took me longer than it should have to get past. And now I don't have a problem saying no, but I'm aware of why I do it. I'm aware of the internal process. Now, a mentor of mine told me once that no thank you is a complete statement, and it really is. Now, this is an important one because if you contradict yourself or go against your own feelings on your own thoughts and you're saying yes, yes, yes to all different things, it's going to lead to an unhappiness or a stress or an anxiety within you. So here's a few examples that might make this make sense. Let's say you are out with friends and you've been drinking and you've had enough for the night. And then your friends might say, come on, have another one. And then you go along with it. And the next day you wake up and your head is absolutely banging. Your mouth tastes like I don't know what. And you're giving it that never again kind of situation. Have you ever done that? I'm guilty for sure. Now, not so much. But back in the day, and I'm never a fan of that phrase, but back in the day, yes, I used to do this at my own cost. So this is one example of when a no situation might be required. Now, another one could be, let's suppose you're in a relationship, an intimate relationship, and the person you're with wants a certain level of intimacy and you don't feel like it. But you know from past behaviour that if you don't concede, they may sulk. So instead of saying no and sticking to it, for some, you might say yes. And then you're not really with the process, you're not really engaging with the process, you're doing it for all the wrong reasons. So that's where you've done a yes, but really you were thinking no. So that's another kind of example. Now, I mentioned drink before, but what about if it was drugs? Let's say someone offered you some drugs and you were trying to keep healthy, you were trying to stay away from that kind of thing, but you said yes instead of saying no, which is what you really want. So you're compromising yourself again. These little compromises with yourself, they knock your confidence, they knock your self-esteem, they knock your ego, they knock your ability and your knowledge about yourself. So it's a real problem, and it's a problem that I think if you addressed it, life will get easier. So let's talk about some of the inner no's as well.
I like the sound of that.
Now, I started with the outer no's for a reason. It's easier ground. The inner no is more difficult. And this is a real power that you have got within you. You might just need to turn it on or turn it up or maybe feed this thing a little bit. So the inner no is a powerful one because you don't even have to go along with what's going on the outside. The inner you is like that inner conversation. No, I'm not doing that. No, that's not acceptable. No, I'm not engaging in that process. No, that's not for me. No. All right. So there's lots of different kinds of no's that you can say. Because what we're really talking about here is boundaries. And there's boundaries that you can set for other people, and there's boundaries that you can set for yourself. Now, again, this is really important. There's an old quote by Malcolm X, and he says, if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. And I think that's quite a powerful quote. So when you start getting firm on your boundaries, life is going to start changing. Now, something to be aware of. When you put your boundaries up, others, including yourself, are going to test them. They're going to see how firm these boundaries are. Is this boundary like a brick wall and barbed wire across the fence? Or is it paper thin and someone can just, lean against it or walk right through it?
Yeah, let's test this out.
So here's the kind of boundaries that I'm talking about. So here's a bit of a list. Suppose you decide you're not going to eat junk food anymore. So this is going to be an internal no kind of situation. And it's good to be aware of the difference between an internal no and an external no. The internal no, I would suggest you need to make it strong.
Give him a Bruce Lee kick. Boom! Right in the face.
Because that's the foundation stone. So let's say you've made a decision. You're not going to eat the junk food anymore. You're just not going to do it. Well, that's okay in the moment. But what about when temptation presents itself? Maybe you're at the supermarket and you're walking down that old familiar aisle, all the biscuits, all the chocolates, all the sweets, all the goodies, which is a bit of a strange name in itself. But you're in that aisle and you're thinking, okay, well, a little packet of biscuits won't hurt. I'll just get some. I'll just get some of them jellies. They're not such a big deal, are they? I'll keep them there just for case of emergencies. Now, this is a dialogue you can be having with yourself as you're walking down the supermarket. So a way to address something like that is before you go in the supermarket, you're having that dialogue with yourself. And it's, I'm just not doing it. It's just not happening. That's just not the way it's going to be. Now, when you make that decision, even as you're entering the supermarket, what can be really fantastic is when you walk past the aisle and you glance up and you think, you haven't got me. I'm not going down there. I'm just not doing it. And then you walk past the aisle. I'll tell you a true story. Years ago, I used to be a smoker. Now, I packed in smoking using the hard way, which was willpower. Hypnotherapy is a lot easier, I've got to say, but I didn't know about that then. This is before I was a therapist. So when I packed in smoking and I did it the hard way, I used to get like a sadistic pleasure by walking past the cigarette counter in the supermarket. And I used to walk past feeling all smug and proud because I knew I wasn't joining that queue, because I'd said an internal no. Sometimes something else can help fuel the internal no. Now, I think that helped fuel mine was when I told the people I was working with I was going to pack in smoking. Someone said, oh yeah, you'll be back smoking by the end of the week. And I said, I won't be doing it. He said, you're going to be a smoker. And I said, really? Now, it was that challenge that triggered something in me, that defiance in me that I know that I've got. And what happened was, as soon as they said, yeah, you'll be back smoking again, I said, no, I won't. And it helped because I verbalised it to the person who said it to me. No, I won't. Because then I heard it. All right. So that's a good boundary that you can put down if you've got a bit of a sweet tooth and you're always down that certain aisle in the supermarket. Now, another one could be, suppose you want to get fit and you think, okay, I'm going to get up in the morning. I'm going to go for a run. I'm going to do a workout at home. I'm going to go on my bike and go in the gym, whatever it might be. Now, there's going to be a point, I would suggest, that you're going to wake up and you're going to think, oh, just another 10 minutes, right? That's a perfect opportunity for that no to come into place.
He really moves, and speaking of that, let's get things moving right now.
Now, this is going to be a difficult one because you're going to be tired. You're not going to be fully alert. All your senses are not going to be up. So what you can do is you can go to bed and you can make a promise to yourself. When that alarm goes off, I'm getting my backside out of bed. And you can make that promise to yourself. So the moment that little voice tries it on, you're ready for it. No, we're not doing that. I'm getting up. So that's another one. Now, let's suppose there's a certain task that you want to do that's going to make you better in a certain department, whether that's personally or professionally. It doesn't really matter. But let's say there's something that you want to do. It doesn't have to be big. It can be quite small. Now, for some, they can put it. Oh, I'll get around to that later. Yeah, I'll do that at some point. Yeah, I do need to do that. These are all variations on things that are going to block you and slow you down, and actually may even prevent you from doing it ever. So, a good way around this, again, the internal no. So you make the decision that you're going to do it. If it helps, you can tell someone else. You can have an accountability partner. You can write it down. You can send messages to people. You can put it on social media just to let you know I'm being accountable to everybody. I'm going to do this by this date. Now, if you've got a good group around you, they should support you. They should be coming back with, I think that's a great idea. You can do this. Oh, I think you really should. You're going to be so happier. You've wanted to do that for ages. All those little things, them external bits are going to help. But when you build up the resilience within yourself, you will know, K-N-O-W, you will know that when you say something like this, you're going to turn up for yourself. And that can be incredibly powerful.
Phenomenal cosmic powers!
So the importance of saying no is huge, both internal and external. So I mentioned before that this is all about boundaries. So in the description below, there's going to be a meditation I've recorded, and it's free. It's completely free. I don't need your email address. I don't need any contact details from you. But in the description, there's going to be a link to take you to a 12.5-minute meditation on boundaries. Now, here's what I want you to do. So again, here's what I want you to do. So is this going to be a yes or a no for you? So here's what I want you to do. I want you to make a prescription for yourself that you're going to listen to that recording in the morning and in the evening. And if you can, be really specific about when you're going to do it. Is it you're going to do it when, as soon as you get up, before that first cup of tea or coffee? Are you going to do it last thing at night when all the dishes are away and you've wiped down the surfaces? When is going to be your time? It's 12.5 minutes. Anyone can fit 12.5 minutes into the day. But I want you to do it twice. Once in the morning, once in the evening. And there's a reason I want you to do it in them times in particular. We have an inner security guard within us that accepts or rejects ideas. Okay? Now, when you are tired, first thing in the morning, last thing at night, that security guard is not fully on duty. So ideas and thoughts and suggestions are more likely to enter the mind than when that security guard is fully alert. Okay? So if you do it first thing in the morning and last thing at night, there's a better chance of the boundary meditation and the advice and the guidance within that to settle into your subconscious mind. Now, when something settles into your subconscious mind, you just start to do things automatically. It can seem a little bit like magic, really. You just start operating on a new level. So I want you to do it first thing in the morning, last thing at night. And every time you do it, every time you listen to it, I want you to reinforce the boundary you made on the previous session with yourself. Alright? So that is the power of known. And that is the homework. So I hope you've enjoyed this episode of Write Your Own Story. If you have, please give it a like, a share, and a subscribe. Don't forget to ring that bell, because that means every episode you get notified of when I upload a new video. And this channel is all about things that can help you be a better version of you in some regard. Alright? So I'll see you on the next episode. This is James from Write Your Own Story. Bye bye.